One of the main benefits of fragrance clones is that oftentimes they can mitigate a serious problem that a lot of us take very seriously, and that's performance, or more so, lack thereof. I can't tell you how many times I've talked about a fragrance that smells fantastic, it's a 10 out of 10, and then a lot of the comments that back that fragrance up are people saying, yeah, it smells great, but the performance sucks, right? It's a big issue that a lot of us face, and I'll be the first to admit as well, I like my fragrances to have good performance. I think we all do. If we're putting our hard-earned money into a scent and we're spending $100 on it or even less than that, and it's a fragrance we're passionate about and we want to wear it, we want other people to be able to smell it. We want it to last more than a couple of hours. And so you may find that some of your more expensive scents, even some of your beloved niche fragrances, may not perform up to your standards. And luckily for us, there are some clones out there to fix that problem, and that's what we're going to be going over today. So I will link all of these fragrance clones down below in the description. Most of these are all very affordable. Typically, another thing that clones can remedy is price point. You know, there's so many expensive fragrances that people are just hesitant to get into because you don't want to spend $200 or $300 on a scent. And that's totally normal. That is probably the right mindset to have. And so these kind of solve that issue as well. But the main one is that these are going to get you much better performance than the original. We'll start it off with a Creed clone. This is going to be Armoff Train, and this is very, very similar. In fact, a straight up clone of Green Irish Tweed by Creed. Now, there are some Creed fragrances that I get really good performance out of, some that I get trash performance out of, and some that do just okay. Green Irish Tweed is not trash performance, but it isn't the best either. It's not on the level of a Ventus or anything like that. It's kind of right there in the middle. It's just okay. And for the price point, just okay doesn't really cut it for everybody. You know what, Green Irish Tweed, $230, $240, $250 on discounters for 100 mil, could be even more, a little bit less, I don't know for sure. Armoff Train, $25, $30, maybe a bit less than that. So even if this performed for 5 hours, it would still be, in a lot of people's eyes, a better pickup than Green Irish Tweed because of the price difference here. Luckily, this does better than 5 hours. On my skin, it's usually around an 8-hour scent, 8 to 9, which really kind of outperforms Green Irish Tweed on me, believe it or not. That one's, it just kind of, I don't know, 5-6 hours, somewhere around in there, sometimes a bit less, sometimes a bit more. It just depends, but it's never really done all that well on me. Next up, we have Rojas Mustache Eau de Parfum. This is a clone of Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo. Fantastic patchouli and ambergris scent. Comes with a hefty price tag, $250 at retail for, I believe it's 120 mil, 125, something like that. So good size bottle, but still very expensive. And when you factor in the fact that the performance has never been impressive on that one, it makes it kind of painful. The Rojas in a healthy market is a $45 to $50 scent, $55 all day long, somewhere within that range. It kind of falls right into the mid-range designer price point, which is a very competitive space. It's got vanilla, benzoin, and pink pepper. It does a great job of representing that, tuxedo DNA, but with a little bit of its own twist, being that it's more vanilla heavy. But it smells absolutely incredible. There's just something about this DNA that is truly magical for the season of fall, and this definitely outperforms Tuxedo by a pretty heavy margin. Next up, Armoff Bois Nuit. So this here, easiest way to look at it is similar to Paco Rabanne's 1 million, and you get hints of 1 million Privé as well. Some people even go as far as to say that there's a little bit of La Nuit de l'Homme in here. I don't really get so much of that. There's no excessive cardamom for me in this one. However, the 1 million Privé, I definitely pick up on that. More so 1 million than 1 million Privé, but there's kind of a little bit of a mix. And if you look online, over the years, 1 million has been heavily altered according to the community. It doesn't perform like it used to. And so if you want to spend significantly less money on a bottle of Bois Nuit and get a better performing version of 1 million, this is the way to go for sure. Next up, we have Frank Bosley. This is going to be tobacco. So I've had this in my collection for several months at this point. Just never really got around to featuring it in any videos. Now, recently, 50 ml bottles came into stock for like $36, which is an incredible deal for this. That did sell out pretty quickly. I posted about it on my community tab. You could still get 100 mils and 100 mil testers for a good price though, and that's what this bottle is here, a 100 mil. Presentation wise, it's not really the best. I've touched on this before in a more recent video. Just a sticker on the front, press fit cap, but the scent is where it's at. And really, this smells very similar to Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. And similar deal, if you look online, people are saying that, yo, the new batches of Tobacco Vanille are nothing like the old ones, and they don't perform as well. And I don't have any old batches of Tobacco Vanille, unfortunately. I do have a newer one, and it really doesn't do all that well on my skin, especially at that price point. This one performs better, it's much more affordable. This is kind of the way to go. Next up we have Armoff Legacy, my completely, unfortunately broken bottle. It's so broken that the whole atomizer stem broke off. Like I can't even spray this anymore. I don't know what happened, but it broke. And it's used to hinge, so it used to open up like that, like pure excess. But even that broke off. Seriously, I don't know what went wrong with this. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that this smells very, very close to Chanel's Platinum Egoist. That's a $100 scent on discounter, so, Chanel pricing as per usual, and you really don't save a whole lot off of retail anyway. And it does okay performance-wise, especially for an aromatic fougere. I'm not expecting it to perform like a Tobacco Oud-based fragrance or something like that. But this one here seems to outperform it generally, and at a much lower cost as well. Love this DNA. Really a big fan of this one as well, Oftenon's 9 p.m. Ultra Male clone. You guys know it, and I love it. Similar thing, Ultra Male has seemed to have changed over the years. There's been a couple different formulations. There's BPI, and then there's another one that you can kind of look for, and I honestly can't even remember which one's good and which one's bad, quote unquote good bad. But, it's just one of those deals. Things change, reformulations have to happen. Not always out of greed, sometimes out of necessity. When the IFRA comes in and puts their foot down, instead of discontinuing things may get reformulated and changed up. And in that instance, that is kind of what ended up happening with Ultra Male. I still get good performance out of a few different bottles that I have, but I can only try so many. That being said, Oftenon 9 p.m. has fantastic performance on my skin. The presentation is impressive. Very heavy, thick glass with a nice metal cap. Looks much more classy than Ultra Male. So in terms of curb appeal for your fragrance shelving, this one really looks nice. It doesn't have that tacky clone fragrance look like a lot of brands have, even Oftenon, right? They kind of stepped it up here and went a different direction. All in all, a very nice clone with great performance. Let's keep it moving with our Moff Club de Nuit Milestone. So Creed is taking a hit in this video, and I don't feel bad because they are continuing to raise their retail prices year over year, it seems like. Most recent I've seen, Aventus up to $470 now at retail price. $470. Now my memory does fail me. I can't remember what it was just a couple years ago. I'm sure some of you guys remember, so leave a comment down below. What were the Creeds retailing for just a mere couple years ago? I want to say it was like $395, $400 at some point way later on, and then maybe it moved up to $425, $430. I don't know. I could be totally off. All I know, it was around that lower $400 mark for a good while. Now $470. I don't know what Millesime Imperial is going for, but I know it's going to be around that price point. And Millesime Imperial, even my 2016 batch, does not have any performance to it. This one, on the other hand, has decent performance. It's a $30, $35 Armoff scent that gets you very close to Millesime Imperial. Like really, really close, and this one actually has some longevity and, for that matter, projection to it as well. It's an eau de parfum. It smells fantastic at a much lower cost. Price to performance ratio is off the charts with this compared to the Creed. So I'm going a little bit out of order according to my notes. So we're going to go ahead and pick on another Creed right back to back. It's Oftenon Highness Green. I always try to kind of separate things in lists so it doesn't get to where like this happens where it's repetitive. I try to spread things out. I went out of order, so that's my bad. We're taking another hit at Creed. This time we're taking shots at Royal Oud because, well, even Royal Oud, it performs better than like Millesime Imperial and Silver Mountain Water and maybe Green Irish Tweed a little bit. But for the price point and the fact that it's literally utilizing oud and cedar as a couple of their main notes, it still isn't on par with what you would expect. The Oftenon gets it done. It's Creed Royal Oud DNA, but with a green twist, if you could imagine that. And I think it's fantastic. This is the ultimate outdoorsman fragrance. If you're like me and you love spending time in the outdoors, it's kind of your way to decompress. You like getting out in the woods. You just like getting stuff done outside. You're going to fall in love with this fragrance. At this price point, the performance is much, much better. Lasts a very long time. And this is also an eau de parfum concentration. Really gets the job done here. And also one other thing, this one tends to go out of stock pretty quickly because people are kind of looking for this. So if it's in stock now at the time of this video, pick one up while you can. Okay, running down to the end, I'm looking at my notes again because I'm still kind of out of whack, but that's all right. We have Nuit Wam by Rojas. So this one here is going to be a clone of Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford, another Tom Ford private blend, and similar deal. You take a look online, and even for me, my bottle of Tuscan Leather, it does very well, and it's a newer bottle. But you still look and you see what they're continuing to put out year over year. They ended up releasing an intense version of Tuscan Leather, and then a lot of people were saying, oh, now that the intense came out, they're going to maybe back off the original a little bit. I don't know if any of that is true or not, because I'm not going to buy a new bottle of this every year to test it out, and you don't know what batch you're getting from samples, so it's kind of hard to test otherwise. But I can tell you that this usually outperforms my bottle of Tuscan Leather. Tuscan Leather, like I mentioned, mine is already very strong, but this is just absolutely ridiculous how strong it is. It is so potent that it almost frustrates me. It's an eau de parfum, and I'm like, how is this still lasting on my skin? Raspberry and leather is what this is all about, man. And if you want a strong, realistic leather fragrance, look no further. Last up for this one, Insurrection II by Rayanne Traditions. This one is going to be a clone of Pure Havane by Mugler, which is a discontinued fragrance. Do you guys remember when that one was going for like $90, $100 consistently at discounters, and it was still selling out like that? Crazy stuff. Now it's gone for good pretty much. Maybe on some stroke of luck, it'll pop back up. It'll probably be going for $130 or something like that per 100 mil. But the point is, you don't have to even worry about that. You can get this for $25. You get nice presentation, and you get a much better performing scent in my experience. I've got a bottle, and I'll tell you, I paid a little bit more than $90 for this. I believe I ended up forking over well into the 100s on this on eBay, which is a little bit sad. This was also like a 2015 bottle, so of course it had a little bit more of a markup to it. The point is, I paid for this heavily, overpaid probably because I didn't have this at the time. Now I do, and I wish I would have just stuck with this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool to have this as a collector's edition because it is an iconic scent, but this one here performs better. It's so much more affordable. You can buy it like right now. It's a great honey tobacco scent that you gotta have. There you guys have it, 10 fragrance clones that perform better than their originals. We'll link these down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.